What is going on, everybody? True here, bringing you another review on You Can't Be in a Rom-Com with Your Childhood Friends. Now, before I even get into this, I'm not a huge fan of them having to continuously drop that same line. Like, I get that that's the name of the show, of the series, but you don't need to incorporate it almost in every other fifth sentence. I don't like it, and I'll say that now. I'm not gonna drop the series. I'm really liking our main girl here, Shio, but I just don't like the overuse of that sentence. It's just kind of annoying. It doesn't make a ton of sense to continuously repeat it. So hopefully we don't have that moving forward. Hopefully. If not, I'll complain about it again. But let's get into it. So in this episode, it actually starts off with seeing Shio and AU. Let's just call him that. They're both on the bus, and they're actually on their way to the bakery. And we see that it's one of those close encounter situations where you're right next to the person, you're bumping up, and I just gotta say, I thought it was just a train situation that we would have in Japan, but buses too. And like we see that they're both like really pushed up against each other, and a lot of people are just all bunched up. Like I'm like, dude, make bigger buses at this point, or like just keep a limit. That's just kind of ridiculous in my opinion. But hey, it don't matter. But we see that they're both together, and it comes a like a little bit of a teasing session from Shio. We actually see her kind of like messing with his ear because he has motion sickness ever since he was a kid, and then like she actually like is holding on to him, and he tries to like kind of play it off and holds her. And we see that she's obviously kind of feeling it too. She's really happy. And he pushes the button to get off the bus. They get off the bus, and like he says, you don't have to hide your feelings. I know how you are. And like she's thinking, oh, romantically? Like you knew exactly what I was feeling romantically? And it's like, no, you are motion sickness yourself. Like you are that way as well. So you didn't have to play that difficult. I know who you are. And so I was like, oh, it becomes kind of like that. But then they go to school. We kind of skip over to them going to school and never seeing them going to the bakery, which I didn't like that. But we have now Akari, who's actually in class, and it's raining. It's not exactly great, and they're playing the word game, which is that typical thing where you'd say a word and you try to find another word with the last letter of the word you said previously. And we see that Shio and Au actually say each other's names, but not really. They're kind of playing it off. And then Akari, being the tsundere that she is, she's actually wanting to kind of have him say her name. And she says all kinds of A names or names that end with A to get him to say anything. And it doesn't work. He goes with every other answer he can go with, like artist, Asia, Andalusia, like all kinds of different A names, just to kind of avoid it. But she says his name, and then she goes full tsundere, which was kind of annoying. But we then have them both walking home, which was nice. We actually saw Shio going to the store, and she was ahead of them and like trying to get some snacks. But this actually kind of plays into what the episode goes at the very end. But we have them kind of sharing a moment with each other. He shares his umbrella with her, which was kind of weird. The fact that they ran into each other. I don't know why she was at the shrine having to do what she did, and then him being there, like it was just kind of weird. But they share a moment. They share an umbrella. That kind of typical rom-com situations. And later that day, as we see Shio actually wanting to share those snacks with Akari, because apparently our boy wasn't home, his lights were off, so she's like, let me go to the next best thing. And we have here where Akari's actually having headphones in. She's looking at pictures of AU, and Shio actually suspects. And it's almost like she's becoming more and more. She became more and more aware of how she actually felt, what Akari actually felt, and Akari kept downplaying it. In fact, we see that she even had like a closet full of all these like pictures that she had taken from for like AU a long time ago when they were kids, and had it like in the scrapbook or photo album. I'm not sure what you would call it. And we then have some loose photos of him, or I guess of his current age. So it was kind of funny, but these girls, they feel the same, and they actually talk about some of the stuff that AU does with them. And he, of course, was there too. I was like, why? And he gets knocked out, but there is suspicion of feelings between the two of them for him. But that is it for me, guys.